Elizabeth at A Literary Princess, and today I am doing a currently reading video. So I am currently reading 5 books, so let's jump right into talking about them. First up is The Proper Lady and the Woman Writer, Ideology as Style in the Works of Mary Wollstonecraft, Mary Shelley, and Jane Austen by Mary Bouvet. That is a lot of Marys. So I just started this today and I am halfway through now. I'm planning to finish it tomorrow, which tomorrow is Tuesday, which is the day this is going up. So by the time you see this, I might have finished it already. But anyway, this is looking at the ideology of the proper lady that was prevalent through the 18th and 19th centuries and how these 3 women writers worked against that ideology, but also sometimes incorporated it and used it for their own purposes. So far, this is really good. I have read the 2 chapters on Mary Wollstonecraft, and I've just started the first of the chapters on Mary Shelley. So it's good so far. It's gonna be helpful, I think. Next up is Marcella by Mary Augusta Ward, or Mrs. Humphrey Ward, as she was known during the Victorian era. So this is one of the novels for my popular women writing list. And this is, I'm a quarter of the way through this at the moment. And it is about a young girl named Marcella, obviously, whose family has just come into inheriting their ancestral home, but they're extremely poor. So Marcella has been in London for several years and has fallen in with a group of socialists, and she very much believes that there should not be private landowners and that the land should be distributed among the people. But yet she is in this landowning class, and she finds that she does kind of like having all the village people like curtsying to her and bowing and acknowledging her, and she does love the ancestral house. So she's kind of at odds with that, and the people of the village are very poor, and she does want to do what she can to help them, even though she does not have a lot of money herself, and her father is kind of a dick and doesn't want to help other people. He just wants to help himself, basically. But at the point I'm at now, she has just become engaged to, I think his name is Aldous Rayburn, and he is the grandson of kind of their closest neighbor, who is also a landowner. And he looks at her socialist views in like a very condescending kind of like, oh, you way. So I don't really know what to think of it so far. I kind of like Marcella, but she's also can be a little annoying. There's some interesting parallels with Jane Eyre toward the beginning when it's talking about her schooling, but that ends after like the first 2 chapters. And I'm interested to see where this is going to go. It seems like there's going to be a conflict with some of the village people poaching on the landowner's property, and that's going to be kind of a problem. So I'll be interested to see where it goes. All right, and then next up is Kim by Rudyard Kipling. So this is for my long 19th century list. And this is following a orphan boy named Kim, who was the son of an Irish soldier, and he was born in India, and then his parents died. So he's kind of been left to be raised by this Indian woman who kind of has a vague notion of what his father was, but not really. So Kim has a very garbled version of his own history. And he's pretty much just been left to do what he will and run about with the local children. And he can pass as white, but he can also pass as Indian. So he uses that to his advantage. At the moment, he is off on this quest with a Tibetan Lama to search for this river that the Lama wants to find that will supposedly wash away your sins. And Kim has managed to convince people that he has a gift of prophecy because he has spied on some English soldiers and found out some information and is now just telling the whole world about it. Oh, like, oh yes, I foresaw this. So he's kind of just a lovable little scamp. So this has problems, obviously. This is written during imperialism. Many aspects of it are celebrating imperialism, but kind of also poking fun at it a little bit too. It's always kind of hard to tell with Kipling, but it is very interesting. And Kim is, like I said, he's a lovable scamp, and he has just fallen in with his father's old regiment, and they're planning to send him to school because they're like, we can't have this white child going off with a Tibetan Lama on a quest for this river. We need to send him to school so he can be a proper Englishman, basically. So I'm excited to see where Kim will go next, because his plan is to run away. But I don't know if that will work out for him. So next up is one on my Kindle. This is Babel, or The Necessity of Violence, An Arcane History of the Oxford Translators' Revolution by R.F. Kuan. I think is how that's pronounced. I looked it up at one point and now I've completely forgotten. I'm sorry. I feel like I've been reading this forever, but I actually need to read it now because it comes out next week and I need to review it. So this is an arc. It is fantasy that is set during it's like alternate history fantasy set during the Victorian era. This young boy, Robin Swift, is Chinese and he's orphaned, and this English professor brings him over to England so that he can study languages and go to Oxford at the Royal Institute of Translation. And so I have just gotten to the point where Robin has gotten to Oxford and he's starting to meet his cohort. So I'm 14% into it, so not very far, but farther than I was the last several times I've talked about it. And I really like this so far. It's really good. Like, I can already tell I'm gonna really like it. Very similar vibes to Susanna Clarke's Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, with the footnotes and the very extensive world building of, okay, how am I going to bring these fantasy elements into the real history? So it's very interesting. I can't wait to see where it goes. I wish I was able to just spend more time with it because I'm just bogged down with all this university exam reading and I really want to read this, but I will finish it before it comes out. That is my goal. And if I make that goal, then I can be happy for the rest of the year. Next up is one that is actually kind of on hold for the moment. This is The Beast's Heart by Leif Shallcross. So I had this out as an audiobook on Libby, and I got 47% of the way through, so nearly halfway, and then my loan was up and somebody else had a hold on it. So I've had to put it down, and I have a hold on it now, so I'm waiting for them to be done with it, which is annoying, but... So this is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast from the Beast's perspective, and this is quite lovely so far. It is a very, very slow, very quiet story, lots of little details, big on the relationships and developing the characters and the relationships between them. Lots of discussion of the setting and the surrounding area. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I will probably do a video on it when I finally get to finish it, which will hopefully be soon, because hopefully whoever got it out after me is not as slow of an audiobook reader as me. So these are the 5 books that I am currently reading. Let me know down in the comments below. Have you read any of them? What did you think? What are you currently reading? It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.